It's the ABCs of IBC, the infinite banking concept brought down to a granular, just answer my question level. Here we go, part 2.
It's ABCs of IBC, learning how to bank like me. Infinite banking sets you free. Come on, y'all, let's bank infinitely.
Jonah, we're back.
We're back.
We're recording back-to-back right now. We have a part 2 coming up.
I want you back. Because of the ABCs of one.
No, right.
Okay.
I was trying to give you the next
Jackson,
line, but I couldn't do it.
I want you back. Yes, I do now. I want you back. Ooh, baby. IBC. No, I didn't.
That was pretty good. I was
all
going to let it ride. We'll let the people decide out there. Appreciate you following. Subscribe to this channel wherever you are out there. We're on YouTube right now doing a live video if you happen to be on our podcast. We're glad that you're there too. Go ahead and find us, share us, and celebrate the fact that you now are cracking the code to cash flow.
That's right.
We're going to spend this second half of our series walking and talking through questions that we have typed in or found that other people were typing in.
Yeah, to the internet.
To the internets, the world wide webs.
That's Google. That's Facebook. Nope, not Facebook. That's Google. That's YouTube. That's TikTok.
Some people would do it on Facebook.
Yeah, these are just the popular search engines of the time. So we
Right.
have figured
Twitter?
out a bunch of questions that people are typing in. So there might not all be questions. People are just typing stuff, and we want to address them because if folks are typing them in, that might mean that you're typing them in, or you at least want the answers to them. So we want to give them to you.
For the last 10 years, we have personally been practicing the infinite banking concept. We've gotten really good at helping people for about 7.5 years at doing this process themselves. What we specialize in is education first and then walking people through the launch phase.
There you go.
How do we get it started? Jonah, question number 1, the 1, 2, 3s of IBC.
I love it.
IBC 1, 2, 3. What would you say? This is kind of cold. We did not practice this.
Yeah.
What is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3?
Okay, only 3? Gotta
Well,
fit into
3.
3. That's what they're Googling, right? Or that's what they're typing in, IBC 1, 2, 3. Makes sense. Here we go. Step number 1, you have to obtain the insurance policy. Not all insurance policies are created equal. If you have ever been in a car crash, you probably understand that. They are not all created equal. You do need to make sure that you have the exact right style of policy for infinite banking, but that is step 1. Obtain the right style of policy. Step 2, obviously, once you have the right style of policy, step 2 is take out loans from this policy. So that is very important. There are companies out there who won't let you take out loans. You got to wait. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to jump through hoops. You didn't do step 1 appropriately. Make sense? That's what I mean by take out the right style or obtain the right style of policy. So step 2 is take loans. When you take loans, that money hits your traditional bank account. You can spend that on anything you like. So it is currently mid-year 2024. That means we got holidays coming up that you probably need some money for. That means school started if you got school-age children. There's all sorts of stuff you can spend money on, right? Maybe you just need a new car, right? Car's dying. That's step 2. Step 3 is repay the money that you took out. And if you have the right style of policy from step 1, if you've obtained the right style of policy, you can repay with interest or extra on top of what you took out. That would be the 1, 2, 3s of infinite banking. Now, doing the 1, 2, 3s are cool, but understanding what happens when you do them is better. But I guess they didn't Google that. They just wanted
We
to know
can't
what
tell
1,
them.
2, and
Not
3
on this
are.
episode.
Right. So.
But this next question, we can tell them in depth. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 of our next, we have 11 total.
That we're going to go through today?
That we're going to go through. That was number 1. 2, and this next one, 2 of the 11, we are going to do some in-depth walkthroughs on because we realize those are going to be really helpful to our audience. Here at the Cash Compound, what we do is walk and talk people through how to actually do this. It's a complimentary and custom service once you have a coach. There's only one hoop you have to step through, and that's let us know you want a coach. Watch the video and sign up for a time. We have coaches on standby, all of which who practice this personally. I have policies, 9 of them, actually.
I do.
I have 9 policies, 3 different companies that I'm going to be able to give you guidance on and set your policy up specifically customized for you. So we're going to jump into 2 of those specifically so we can walk and talk you through the hows. The hows, not just the what, not just the answers, but how. How do I do it? I want to do it. Jonah, second question is,
Ready.
what are the problems with infinite banking?
Oh, okay. So we're going to have to scratch the surface on this one just a little. That's probably why we're doing an extra YouTube video that you can dive into the details on the problems with infinite banking. But yeah, I can tell you some problems with infinite banking. Problem number one, not enough people are doing it. Right? I feel like that was a cop-out because that's not...
That's
really
what the people are going to... Some of the people are going to think.
That's what really a problem... Right?
However, the people who are getting started or who have had policies, we all agree with you. Not enough people are doing it.
Right.
Because I'm out here fighting for my life with people, and they don't even know what I'm talking about because they don't do it.
Yeah. So I can give you some real problems if that's the kind of style, that question you were looking for. So I'll give you the first problem. The first problem is understanding. A lot of people are getting started without understanding those 3 steps we talked about earlier, right? A lot of people are stopping after step 1 or stopping after step 2. They're not getting all the way through 1, 2, 3. There's a movement right now in the infinite banking space where people obtain the right style of policy and don't do anything else. That's not infinite banking. And so what happens is when you obtain the right style of policy, you can allow a lot of stuff to get in your head and start messing up your thinking with why in the world did you just buy that, right? There's a very popular internet, radio, social media personality out there that if all you did was obtain the right style of policy, he'd probably influence you pretty good because he says, no, that one's expensive. You should have just bought the cheap one, right?
Yeah.
But if you move to the next step, right, you obtain the right style of policy and then you
borrow against it.
Take
some money out.
You probably wouldn't listen to the radio personality anymore.
No, that was me.
Because he said, well, that's just the cheap one you should go get. But you're going, well, I just took money out and the cheap one can't do that.
So that's me. But like you said, I stopped after step 2.
There you go.
For about 4 years.
There you go. So problems with infinite banking. Don't stop after step 1. That'll mess you up. Problems with infinite banking. Don't stop after step 2. Don't obtain the right style of policy and then go pull a loan and stop. If you do that, that'll mess you up also because you're going to probably in the first year of a policy, right? You're going to say, I put in $1 million and I only took out $900,000. I just lost $100,000. And that's not true. But if you stop after step 2, you'll trick yourself into thinking it's true.
People do it all the time.
Right?
Most people do that prior to starting.
Right. So I will long form answer, but I'll stop right there and say problems with infinite banking is understanding. Do not stop after step 1 or step 2. You got to go all the way through. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Question 3 here. What's an example of infinite banking?
It's a good question. I've got a couple examples. You want to answer this one though?
Sure. Okay, an example of infinite banking. Those of you who watched or listened to part 1 are going to realize that my favorite analogy right now is Jonah and I are going to work the bank for you. A bank, not an insurance policy, a bank. How many of you realize what I'm now talking about? It is the conventional spot on the corner where you told your boss to park your direct deposit money.
The Wells Fargo's, the Bank of America's, the JP Morgan Chases, those?
Those,
okay.
Right there. TD, PNC, down with OPP. They got other people's money sitting over there.
If we're working at TD, they're going to make us wear green.
We're good at that.
That's fine. I can wear green. Let's work at TD. They got green.
All right. I didn't have jobs like that. Jonah used to work at TD, people. Okay.
I did.
What does TD stand for?
Toronto Dominion's Canadian bank.
There we go. Okay. I used to have my money at RBC. What's that one?
British Columbia. So I don't know.
Royal Bank of Canada.
Royal Bank. Oh, I was close.
But these Canadians be coming down here with their banks.
Yeah, they're probably doing something we should do.
Okay, so an example. Okay, now banking is when the bank utilizes OPM. We got RPC, TD, OPP. OPM, other people's money, and they lend it out, and people buy things with it, take risks with it, invest in it, and then they pay it back to that bank with interest. Notice the bank did not send out its money.
Yeah, that's a big deal. A lot of people miss that.
The bank sent out OPM. The bank bought nothing. The bank took no risk unless they thought you were going to default. But how often do they give you the loans if they think you're going to default?
True. Not very often.
And you paid them back, and they made interest in this scenario. The bank, that they'd call that profit.
Yep.
So that's the example. Use it for anything, ladies and gentlemen. What I did not say, I don't want to go deep in this because we have 11 we're going through, but no bank took an investment risk.
Nope.
They sent out a loan It's not an investment risk, okay? So an example of infinite banking is utilizing a pool of money that's not yours to go leverage and make profit. That's banking. An example of infinite banking, you go do that. The insurance company is going to give you their money to utilize. The way we explain things in the 3-cup setup is really helpful for people who want to look at the visuals. Your money, premium red cup, buys their money. Their money. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me. The truth is it's their money. Your money bought their money way more. Cash value is simply how much net equity you have in their money so far. You have it because it's your policy, but it's their money, so you can leverage and borrow it now. You're not dead. Now you have OPM to be able to go spend.
There we go.
So that's the example.
I love it.
Jonah, here's the next one for you. What are the questions I should know or I should be asking about infinite banking?
Sure. This all kind of stems from something that I've got to harp on because a lot of people are missing this. We talked in the first part, right? Our first part of these frequently asked IBC questions about the comparison and how people compare stuff and they're not comparing things appropriately. It's the same thing as people they're taking advice from or information from. So here's what I mean. The question that people are typing in, or what are the questions I should know about infinite banking? And my answer to that is go ask the licensed infinite banking person you're working with. And if you're not working with the licensed infinite banking person, then you've already messed up. Like there's lots of questions you should then ask that person. But if you're asking the licensed infinite banking certified
Nelson
person,
Nash practitioner, infinite banking,
it's a lot different.
Concepts person.
So here's what I mean. Like let's relate it to in the finance space, right? You walk into a bank and you say, I want a loan for a house. Do they not send you specifically to the mortgage loan servicing person at the bank? And sometimes the person's out and on lunch and whatever, you got to come back.
That
right?
is correct.
Right. That happens so often. But they don't let you talk to the teller about that, do they?
Nope.
You got to go talk to the specific person because that person passed the training, has the certification, right?
Knows the company, knows the products, has the stuff on their computer. And you would never ask that's a good point. You don't ask the teller.
You never ask the teller.
But you always ask whoever you think you like when it comes to insurance. I know a guy
you first search,
from church.
You first search the people who meet the criteria, and then you ask them the questions. The problem that's going on right now is that people are asking Google, or people are asking their brother-in-law, or people are asking the internet personality, and you didn't first check to see if they have the qualifications.
You're asking people who are going to give you opinions.
There you go.
Rather than the facts or the truth.
That's a huge problem that we've got right now in the infinite banking space. Go ask your person, do you have the certification to talk to me about this? And if they say,
here's an easier one,
I know
because
lots of stuff.
You don't know what certifications are needed. And I'm going to say 2 things about this. So my question would be, maybe to them is, do you do this?
Sure.
As well?
That's a good question.
Do you do it? Could you help me understand what it is you're up to? You do? Because if you knew what was going on, you'd be doing it. So is this person doing it? That's really crazy because I think in the CFP world, which people try to call us out on this, certified financial planner. Hey, no CFP would talk about this. Neither does my car mechanic.
Right.
Because they do different things.
Yeah, that's not the right category. It's just, I think that's goes without being said. Again, there are plenty of questions that you need to ask about infinite banking, especially if you're in the business of getting a policy started for yourself. But I need to make sure you're asking the right person. I mean, people are missing this like crazy in the age of information and the internet that we live in, right? They are missing this like crazy. But I'm telling you, if you've got a problem with the plumbing in your bathroom, you don't ask the electrician. You first make sure they've got the qualifications. I'm going to go get the list of plumbers and then start asking questions.
Now, if you don't mind, I'll help people out with some of the questions you could be asking the right people, including us. 1, tell us about your policies. Show me some of your policies. You could even do that for the right people. They may do that for you. Yep. Several of us here at our office will help you with that. Another one, can you tell me how the death benefit works? Can you tell me about the company you might be using or you might choose to use? Tell me how cash value should be growing. Could you show it to me? Those are all relevant questions when it comes to infinite banking. Infinite banking is still going to be something you do, but can you walk and talk me or show me through what does a modified endowment contract look like? Could you explain how the dividends are going to be a part of this policy? All legitimate questions. Ask the right person, they'll answer them. It's not a threat to ask the right person the right questions.
Right.
Yes. So that may be helpful for you. I love that one. Okay, Jonah, here it is.
Question number 5, I think.
Question 5. Can I get better returns than infinite banking? Can't I get better returns? What if my returns are too low? Doesn't seem like my returns are right or high. There's a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'd have to first say that the answer is that's not really the right aspect of infinite banking that you should be thinking of. So again, put yourself in the position of a bank. The bank makes money when they do the loans, right? So Jeremiah, let's pretend I'm the banker. You're going to walk in. You're going to say, the Cybertrucks are looking nice. I need $100,000 to go get one. I'm the bank, and I hand you the $100,000.
Okay.
And I let you leave the bank without signing any paperwork.
I'm out real quick.
Real quick. But how much money did I make? I'm the bank. How much money did I make if I let you do that?
You lost money.
I lost money. Now, if I say, hey, I'll give you the $100,000, but you have to pay me back. I don't care if you pay me back fast or slow, right? So let's think about that in the terms of a car. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years.
Right.
One of those is faster than one of them slower. Yeah?
Yep.
I don't care if you pay me back a lot or a little. Let's think about that in terms of car notes. 2%, 5%, 7%, 10%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to pay me back, and I need it regularly on time.
Yep.
If you do not, I'm going to come back and get the Cybertruck because I'm lending you the money to get it. Now how much money do I make?
A lot.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
I set the terms of it, but I'm about to make a lot of money. Pretend that it's 6 years and 10%, right? I end up making like $20,000 off that deal, right? All utilizing the bank's money, not my own personal pool, all while it's under contract, written down. You've got to do it. Like, there's so many aspects to banking. So if the question that you're asking is, can't I go get a better return? I've got to say, well, I don't think you understand what banking is very well. So we did a transaction where you were buying the car and I was the banker, but now pretend that you're both people in the transaction. I'm both people. Well, that means I now have control to set my own terms. That is super important. I've got privacy because it was by me, between me, right? That's really important.
Yep.
I now make money when I buy a car. That wasn't going to happen before. Right? When I buy the house, when I finance the groceries, I now make money when I do those things. That wasn't going to happen before. So can I get better returns? If you're going to single out a singular thing and compare that to infinite banking, I've first got to say infinite banking is not an investment, so you really shouldn't be comparing. But at the same time, I need to say, well, why don't you just start your infinite banking policy, then go take a bunch of cash and go put it in that investment you love? And then you get both.
There you go.
So many different aspects to answer that question, but that's really why we always in our episodes make sure that you understand that if you've got some of these specific questions, we want to talk to you because everybody's situation is different. We don't believe that all apples fall from the same tree, right? Everybody is a little bit different. Everybody's got a little bit of a unique spin to their situation, and so that's why we need to talk to you. If you're interested in getting started with infinite banking and you've got specific questions, please just call us. There is a link to our calendar in the description of this YouTube video. If you're listening to us and while you're driving on the road or listen to our podcast somewhere else, there is a link that you can click on and you can jump on one of our calendars or one of our coaches' calendars, and we will answer the questions that you have about infinite banking. You don't have to worry about having a bunch of pressure on you to get started. We want to talk to you and understand where you're coming from so we can be helpful to you if that's you. So,
question 6 of 11. What if I'm not insurable?
All right, this is all you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you need a body when it comes to insurance. Nobody out there gets car insurance without a car. There's going to have to be a car somewhere. Life insurance is the product, and a specific type and design of that product is what we're going to use as our bank. Banking is something you're going to do. You're going to need a bank, and the bank needs a body to be connected to. Everybody, I'll be honest with you, people who look like us. If you don't know what we look like, when I say people who look like us,
Jump over to YouTube, you'll figure it out.
They all know what we mean by that.
That is true.
Because the word us is used a lot.
The people that we're talking to understand.
They know. People like us ask that question all day. And we're going, that is a part of it, but we're talking about cash.
Yeah.
We need a body, and the body doesn't actually have to be you. Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King cannot get life insurance. They can vote Democrat. They cannot get life insurance. So, yes, there needs to be a body. It doesn't have to be you. Because we talked about banking so much, you and I have a tendency to lose track of the idea that your great-grandma bought a Gerber policy on your grandma. And those are two separate people. They did not ask your great-grandma to pee in a cup when your grandma was the body.
Yep.
So you don't have to be insurable. Okay, so we want you to understand the body is a part of the equation. Life insurance is written on a person, and whole life insurance will go and grow and cash flow until they die. But if that is not you, because you have some sort of precondition that precludes you from getting insurance, diabetes type 1 real bad, you got the neck, the rheumatoid arthritis real bad, COPD, I got bronchitis, and you can't
got me.
And you can't get it, we are going to start a life insurance policy on someone in your sphere of influence that you have insurable interest on. We're still going to do banking with this person, okay? We can do a banking policy built for cash until your grandchild passes away. You can own it. You can use it. It's okay.
Simple answer. If you are uninsurable, that does not rule you out from infinite banking at all.
One day we'll all be uninsurable.
There you go.
I'm still going to be doing it. Okay, very good. Next question. Question 7. What if I don't need insurance?
Man, I got to be honest with you. It's one of my least favorite questions that we get. What if I don't need insurance?
I don't have any kids. I don't have any grandkids.
Yep. That doesn't change the fact that it was one of my least favorite questions that we get. But yeah, I can give you an answer. What if I don't need insurance? Good. We weren't teaching you insurance. We were teaching you the process of the infinite banking concept. That is about financing things. That is about using cash. That is about earning interest. That is about using OPM. That is about so many other things. And insurance is way down that list. Way. So, great.
All right.
You called the right person.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't need insurance, you are probably talking about the death benefit. Okay. So if you don't need a death benefit, that's what's in your mind to pass on to the next generation. You know what I'm about to say. Then my next thing that I'm about to say is you need to go to church because somebody needs that money. You need to find a charity in your town that your legacy can help things move forward with by passing on what money you could have provided to them and given to them because you're not there anymore. It's still a very good thing to have insurance so you can pass on a legacy and keep things going. I think that's really important.
Maybe we should start a nonprofit.
You may not.
People who say that they don't need insurance can give it to our nonprofit.
Oh, the first thing that I say to people is you can put my name on it.
You can put my name on it. I don't think we should say that on the podcast. But
you could put my name on it.
But you could.
Hey, I don't like these kids. Bump these kids. Y'all know what I was like, fine, put my name on it. It's fine. I'll tell you how to spell it.
But I agree. The money can go to your friends, your family, your church, or your charity. If you are absolutely saying there's no one at all, then I'm going to agree with Jeremiah here. You got to find somebody. Somebody somewhere is doing something that you appreciate and that you could leave the money for, right? So
and you're still going to bank with it. Like he said, his part is still true. There's so much about this ideal asset that is the and asset. We're still going to do it for the money anyway while we're alive. However, there's going to be something left over. Maybe one day you'll find something you care about. I don't know. Put it down there. Until then, my number, I'm going to tell you my name and number. You put my number on it till you find something else. Totally fine. Okay. All right. We're just joking out there. All these people at the home office watching us right now.
I know they're going to be like, you can't say that.
Right.
Don't tell them that. You can't put your name down. Anyway, before we continue, we are about 3 questions left, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4. These are frequently asked questions that people are typing into the search engines. This is Google, this is YouTube, this is TikTok, this is Facebook, and we want to make sure that we're answering them for you. But we realized after filming one of our last videos for YouTube that we had obtained a new YouTube subscriber.
Let's go.
And we want to give him a quick shout out. So this is a quick shout out for Jason Wade. Thank you for following us over there on YouTube. We appreciate that. If you are watching this video, I know you recently followed, so you might be paying attention to some of the videos as we're posting. But what you should do is leave a comment for us. Type in your IBC FAQ or your 1, 2, 3 of IBC so we can answer it for you. We can come back and make sure that we touch base. Well, we appreciate you, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Next question.
8.
Am I overpaying for insurance?
Is that the question? Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be more. Okay,
No.
am I overpaying?
I'm trying to give the inflection, like the people, how they're thinking when they type in this stuff.
Am I overpaying for insurance? It's a good question, I guess.
How would you answer it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were just buying insurance, if that was your main goal, then you're probably one of those folks that loves the radio personality, the social media personality, who says, buy the cheapest one possible. But we have this analogy sometimes where we talk about a Ford and a Ferrari. You brought it up just the other day, right?
Yep.
One's cheaper, yes?
Ford's, last time I checked.
Okay, so here's my question. Am I overpaying for a car if I buy a Ferrari? That's my question. That's it. Am I overpaying for a car if I buy the Ferrari?
If there's more to it than that.
I think so too. And that's the answer for infinite banking. There's actually more to it than insurance. We've named a bunch of them in this episode, right? There's more to it. So if you're going to take it at its face value and say
I like how you did that,
overpaying-
face value.
Yeah, you like that? You are overpaying for a car if you ever purchase a Ferrari. You are overpaying for a car if you ever purchase Chevrolet instead of Fords. If that's what you want to take it at face value, then sure. But I think that there's more to it. I think that there's other features that happen in a Ferrari that don't happen in the Ford. I think the Chevy's got a little bit something different than Ford offers. And if those are valuable to you, you'll pay for them.
Yep. That's a great answer. Moving on. Can I do infinite banking with my current life insurance policy?
Man, I'm going to give a quick answer. You can jump in if you want.
Okay.
The answer is probably no. But we can dive into detail.
Yes, we should dive into detail. The answer is probably no. If you have a whole life insurance policy, notice everybody out there in the world who just took what I said, whole life insurance, and they translated the word whole, W-H-O-L-E, W-H-O-O-M-P.
And they turned it into index.
Correct. They thought somehow I said index. I did not. I said whole. If you have a whole life insurance policy, the answer is yes, you can. You may not be able to do it today. You may have already actually taken loans from it. You don't realize that. Somebody last week, quick aside, that we both know, called in from Maine.
Okay.
Had me review life insurance policies that they already owned,
Okay.
which we can do for you, free of charge. Watch our video. We'll talk to you soon and review what you already have. And he had an outstanding loan, but he'd never taken a loan
Oh, okay.
because he'd missed a payment.
Yeah.
He'd
so
missed
the
a
insurance
payment.
company took the loan for him to make the payment. So
There
his
we go.
policy continued.
He-
but then
yes.
he went and checked it, and he was like, wait a second. I
Yeah,
didn't do
he
that.
wasn't worried about it.
Yeah.
It was one payment a couple years ago. He had the policy for about 10 years on a kid. But yes, you can actually practice banking, most likely, from any whole life insurance policy. Now, it doesn't mean it was set up on purpose for the use of cash value early from a mutual company earning dividends. I don't know any of that till we look at your paperwork. But if you have a current life insurance policy, 9 times out of 10 by far, Jonah is correct. The answer is no, because you don't have whole life, do you? You've got an accidental death and dismemberment policy from your job.
You got a term insurance
You've got a term insurance from Uncle Sam.
Yep.
You do not have whole life. See, those policies do not have any cash value. They do not have any accrual of equity. And if you have term, you're renting the insurance. The rental fee is called premium. It's the bill. The face amount, death benefit, the coverage that you guys are always telling us about that doesn't matter nearly as much in whole life insurance or in infinite banking at all, that has nothing to do with whether or not you have equity.
Yep.
If it's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, has nothing to do with it. Okay? So the answer is probably not. If you have whole life, probably so. Let's take a look at it before you get into it. Love that. Jonah?
Yeah.
How do I use infinite banking in retirement?
Oh, that's a fun question and answer. It's actually one of my favorites, okay? Here's why it's one of my favorites. A lot of people, when they're talking about retirement, they use the traditional retirement vehicles that we've all been brought up knowing in order to fund and or try to set in place how much money they're going to have for retirement. There are some people that are going for the nest egg approach. Let me accumulate $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, and then once I retire at a certain age, I'm going to start living off the money. There's some people that go for that. There are some people that go for a cash flow approach. Let me buy a bunch of property. Let me own a business. Let me do a bunch of notes where I'm generating a few $1,000s a month, and then I can retire whenever because I've got all the money to cover the bills. I love it. It's no problem. But for the most average American person, they're using the individual retirement accounts that the government has touched. They've touched them. So that means 403Bs if you're a teacher. That means 401Ks if you work a job. That means IRAs if you used to work a job and needed to roll it over and just wanted to do something for yourself.
457 plans
There
if
you
you
go.
are in healthcare. Which one?
Yeah, I forget which one that is. Texas has their own too. There's some different numbers
Really?
if you live in Texas. You
Oh.
better believe it. But
Okay.
those are the things that the people are using, and the government's touched all of them. They've touched them. And if the government touches them, that means, they don't work like you think they're going to work. And they're going to be subject to the government's rules and regulations. One of the government's most beneficial, profitable rules and regulations are taxes. So with infinite banking policies, if someone's going to type in IBC for retirement, one of the best things that I can tell them is first, if you work with the right person, I've mentioned that a few times, you don't have to worry about that old pesky Uncle Sam and taxes. That's first. And second, a lot of times with infinite banking policies, you can set up your ideal retirement. This is an important word, guaranteed from the beginning. And you don't have to cross your fingers and hope the money's there when you turn 59 and a half or 65 years old. So IBC retirement is one of my favorite topics because in 20 minutes, I can put in front of you, boom, you turn 65, here's exactly how much money you're going to have from the insurance company guaranteed.
Minimum.
And it
Minimum.
doesn't work that way with the other things. And so it's kind of counterintuitive because people don't realize that's a thing. They go 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, not ever knowing that they can know how much money they're going to get out of something at a certain time. And then in 20 minutes, you're like, oh, it's this much, it's guaranteed. And they're like, what? Wait,
Minimum.
should I, what? How did you, what? This is witchcraft. You're like, no, it's a guaranteed product.
Right. It's on the paper.
You were using the government.
You don't
touched
have
stuff.
to believe what we say. You can see that you have a guaranteed contract and your name is at the top.
Yeah, my 2 cents on IBC for retirement is the government doesn't touch insurance. And the ways that you're probably saving or investing for retirement right now, the government touched them all over the place. And if the government touches it all over the place, it ain't probably going to work the way you think it is.
The only thing I'll add is that the word insurance means something, and you probably stopped thinking about what it meant. Insurance means it's a guaranteed. You have assurance that this will be here. Insurance is not the same word as investment, and that's probably what you've been putting your hopes and dreams in with your qualified plans. The wrapper of those government plans is called qualified. This money would be taxed as income unless you wrapped it in one of our qualifiers. How many of you just...
we'll wait to tax it as income. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like you're still going to tax
Well,
it
I
as
mean,
income.
cash value is actually tax deferred as well, but we're not going to surrender our policy, and we're going to take it as a loan, so it's never going to be taxed.
I'm just saying. That's what's happening.
That is what's happening.
Hey, pay income tax. You're like, no, I don't want to. Okay, we'll let you put it in this plan.
Qualify
and we'll charge you
it.
income tax later.
And we'll hit you
that's
later,
it.
or we'll penalize you for using it early, or we'll lose it for you. Or we'll let your fund manager lose it.
$36 trillion in debt. They're going to lose somebody's money here coming up soon.
Yep, it's interesting. Last question, ladies and gents. Remember, we are going to dive deeply into 2 of the topics in part 2 of the ABCs of IBC, and this episode
Is this
very
one of them?
soon. This is the last one. This is one of them coming up.
Oh, so you're saying we're going to make a separate YouTube video
Yeah.
on this topic, specifically answering this question.
The
'cause
very
we
last
think
one.
It's worth.
Yes.
It's worth it.
Let's do it.
I love it.
Jonah,
What's the
here
question?
it is. Maybe you're going to do this one. Maybe I'm going to do it. We haven't decided yet. What's the right way to set up an IBC policy?
Oh man, what a good question. So I guess we should give them just a brief synopsis and tell them to go watch our other video where we dive in deep.
You think they'll be ready for it?
Yeah, I think.
You think they'll still watch it if we give it to them now?
I think so.
Okay.
All right way to set up an IBC policy. Step number 1, work with a person who is certified to be able to help you set them up. IBC policies are not insurance policies that you can click a few buttons online on your phone or on your iPad and get. It's not how they work. Even if you can do that for some of the insurances that are out there these days, they are still, the insurance company, assigning you to an agent. You just did not realize. For infinite banking policy specifically, you need to work with an agent. That does not mean you have to sit down with that person in that person's office, but it does mean you at least need to get on the phone with them. Here at the Cash Compound, we like to get on the phone with you, or sometimes we like to do video chats so you can meet us face to face, so we can see you, meet you. If you don't like that, no big deal. We can do phone calls, but that is the first step. What do you think about the second step? I say find the right person to work with. First step, what do you got?
Second thing is that person is already going to do this for you, but it's the right type of company. You mentioned that kind of early in this episode as well. It was in the last episode, part 1. Yep. It's the right type of company. Notice that for all of you who said, hey, I'm trying to write down the name of the company that Jonah told you couldn't go to the website and figure out because it's just a bunch of grandparents looking like they're in a Flonase or allergy commercial.
They love to put that. Have you ever watched Jeopardy? 7 o'clock hour, Wheel of Fortune, all the commercials that they show during Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy, they screenshot them and they put those on the insurance websites. It's the oldest Flonase.
Correct.
Flowers
I look at them and
yes,
my eyes immediately start to itch when I look at the company websites, because normally it's happy families. Normally it's older couples, and that's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with these people. Jesus loves these people, but I'm saying that isn't going to help you. What do you think you're looking for when you go onto these websites? Plus, they got 50 things that they sell. Yeah. We're going to customize one specific thing. So we're going to use a person who knows which type of company to go to. It's going to be a mutual insurance company that pays dividends. If you're anywhere in the United States of America, that's what we're looking for. It's slightly different in Canada from time to time. Okay, that's what we're looking for out of the 100 life insurance companies. Did you guys just hear me? Because you Googled 3 of them. Out of the 100 life insurance companies, there's maybe a dozen that I've just narrowed it down to so far. And what are we going to buy once we get to the mutual insurance company's website with the right agent to set it up for us? We're going to buy IUL. Nope. Jonah, help them because they thought it again.
Life insurance. Whole life insurance. If you get the paperwork and it says anything other than whole life insurance on the top of that page, you did it wrong, or the person you're working with did it wrong. They tricked you. That's not it.
So that's what we're going to do. Then the agent's going to set it up so there's cash value right away. So these aren't things that you have to know a lot about. These are things that you should be asking about when you work with the person. So it's going to be right there in the paperwork. We're going to walk you through that. That's part of our process. We don't focus on the paperwork. We let you ask the questions to make sure you understand the process, and then we show you the paperwork and go, if you know what's going on, then you'll know what to do. So we'll show you the paperwork and go, oh, I know what to do. There's cash value here.
That's right.
I can use it and leverage it. Yeah, just like we talked about. It doesn't matter if the cash value says 5,000 or 50,000, but you know that you can get to it. That's what we want to help you do. So we're going to partner with you in the process of doing infinite banking. So in the setup, we're going to team up together. We can't start anything unless you tell us to. We can't start anything unless you tell us what the numbers should be that you'd like to be contributing. So it's going to be a partnership, and that's why we want to have that one-on-one call with you. Let's have it soon. Hope you enjoyed the FAQs of IBC.
You are now tuned to the banking bros. Said we couldn't make it, drink or settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.
What's the right way to set up infinite banking? What company should I use? How much money should I put in? Who should I use to help me get it set up? These are all sorts of FAQs that people just like you are typing into Google. We are answering those on this episode and on many more. What you should do is follow our channel, subscribe, hit the bell for those notifications, and we can walk you through exactly what the 1, 2, 3s of IBC just are.